ये जो इंडिया है ना, it has become a Control Alt D nation. And here's what I mean by Control Alt D. If there's a masjid standing in the wrong place, press Control Alt demolish. The masjid goes down. Yes, this was done almost 30 years ago, but now we are using Control Alt D in many more ways. If someone wants data on migrant workers' deaths or job losses, data that would lead to tough questions, press Control Alt delete and there will be no data, which means no questions, no embarrassment, no compensation to pay, no costs to bear. If there are Mughal emperors to trash, a few hundred years of history to rubbish, press Control Alt deny or Control Alt debunk and roads will get renamed, museums will get renamed, history textbooks may get rewritten. If someone is taking part in politically awkward protests, someone who needs to be silenced and shut down, press Control Alt detain, apply UAPA, sedition charges or the Official Secrets Act, etc. and these troublesome individuals vanish into jails for months, even years. If the mishandling of the corona crisis and the crashing of the economy are truly hurting the people, loved ones dying, businesses collapsing, children missing crucial entrance exams, press Control Alt distract or Control Alt defame and Godi media will create a villain like Ria or a heroine like Kangana and public attention will overnight be diverted away from crores of jobs lost and 1,000 corona deaths daily. So first, Control Alt delete. If we took the Mughals out of India by pressing Control Alt delete, the Taj Mahal would vanish. Press Control Alt delete and the Red Fort would vanish. Press Control Alt delete and one of India's greatest films, Mughal-e-Azam, would be erased. Now, those pressing this Control Alt delete button also claim that the Mughals looted India and that is why they should be erased from our history. But that is simply not true. In fact, Mughal rule saw India becoming the world's richest country. A Cambridge University study says that by the year 1700, 25% of the world's wealth was in India. Sir Thomas Roe, England's ambassador to Emperor Jahangir's court, wrote that India then traded on its own terms, demanding only gold as payment. Europe bleedeth to enrich Asia, he said. And who benefited? Hindu merchants and traders. French traveller Francois Bernier, who came to India in the 17th century, confirms that under Mughal rule, it was Hindus who controlled and owned almost exclusively the trade and wealth of India. So clearly, the Mughals embraced India, they enriched India, and pressing Control Alt delete on that part of India's history and heritage will just make us a poorer and lesser nation. And for anyone looking for the real bad guys who looted India actually, the answer is the British East India Company and the British Raj. Grab a history textbook, get to the chapter Drain of Wealth During British Rule and read all about it. Okay, let's look at more examples of pressing Control Alt delete. This time with crucial data. My colleague Asmita Nandi compiled this list of data that the government claims it does not have. The number of migrant worker deaths during the corona pandemic, we have no data, says the government. The number of migrant workers who lost their jobs during the pandemic, no data, says the government. The number of COVID-19 frontline workers, that is health workers, police personnel, Safai Kamcharis who died during the pandemic, no data, says the government. The number of micro, small and medium enterprises or MSMEs that shut down during the pandemic, no data, says the government. And the government has admitted to all of this on record in Parliament. But the question we should then ask is, how is this possible? Why is this data not available? And here's a clue. Press Control Alt C, not C for copy, but C for compensation. What would the government have to pay families of migrant workers who died? Compensation, crores of rupees. What would the government have to pay to migrant workers who lost their jobs? Compensation to health workers, police personnel, Safai Karmcharis who died risking their lives. Compensation. What would the government have to do to support MSMEs that shut down due to the crashing economy? Again, the government would have to pay compensation. In fact, the Labour Ministry has told Parliament in so many words that since it does not have data on migrant worker deaths during the pandemic, the question does not arise of paying any compensation for them. So press Ctrl-Alt-Delete, data deleted, and lakhs of those worst hit by the COVID-19 pandemic are simply forgotten. From Ctrl-Alt-Delete, let's go to Ctrl-Alt-Deny. A few days ago, the Home Ministry pressed the Ctrl-Alt-Deny button saying no Chinese infiltration has taken place at the LAC in Ladakh in the last 6 months. If that's the case, then what are we discussing with the Chinese at the negotiation table? If they are on their side of the LAC and we are on our side, then what is there to discuss? But does pressing Ctrl-Alt-Deny alter the facts on the ground that Chinese troops are on the ridges of Finger 4 at Pangong Lake? Hundreds of Chinese troops between Finger 8 and Finger 4, all considered to be Indian territory. If that is not infiltration, then what is it? Chinese troops are also blocking Indian Army patrols in Depsang. Multiple media reports, foreign defense studies have said so. Reports that have not been denied by the Army or the Defense Ministry. The Chinese are 15 kilometers inside the LAC at Depsang. If that is not infiltration, then what is it? Ctrl-Alt-Deny dabane se the truth does not change. And also, why are we even denying all this Chinese land grab? Is it because the government has no plan, no strategy, no intent to get that Indian territory back? The nation wants to know, are the words of a famous TV news anchor. And he's right. Ye jo India hai na, its people deserve the truth and nothing else. So Ctrl-Alt-Delete, Ctrl-Alt-Deny, Ctrl-Alt-Detain, Ctrl-Alt-Distract, Ctrl-Alt-Defame, Ctrl-Alt-Debunk, इन सभी बटन से उंगली हटाओ और हमें सच बताओ.